Hey, what is up guys? GLA here, bringing you guys a Madden 22 rebuild. In this video, we're going to be rebuilding the Washington Commanders. Alright, so on offense, we have Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and Curtis Samuel. Logan Thomas is also there with star development. He's a little bit older now too. And then on the O-line, we don't really have that many good pieces. I would say it's a pretty average O-line except for Scherf, and I'm probably going to trade him away to get some draft picks or possibly another player. And then we do have Samuel Cosmi at right tackle. He just has normal dev and he's 71 overall, but he is a rookie. I do like the defense. We have Fuller, who's a star dev at corner. We also have Montez Sweat, Allen, Payne, and Chase Young on the D-line. Chase Young is going to be a stud for us. He's going to be one of our best players. And then we also have William Jackson at corner as well. So the 6 of those players are going to be really solid for us. And then we have Curl at strong safety. So I don't really plan on doing anything with them. But at linebacker, we're going to keep Davis and Holcomb and then try and bring in another linebacker just to add to this defense to make them even better. And then also probably try and bring in a free safety as well. My goal is to complete a few trades here and bring in some new players and also add a couple draft picks. I think what I want to do is try and go after a quarterback in the draft, possibly Malik Willis. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and start trading some players really quick. Alright, so here's my first trade. I was able to get a first round pick from the Tennessee Titans for our third string defensive tackle Ioannidis and our halfback McKissick. For the next trade, we sent strong safety Landon Collins to the Carolina Panthers. They gave us their third and fourth round pick in 2022 as well. For the next trade, I was able to send Humphreys and Carter, 2 of our wide receivers, to the Atlanta Falcons, and we got their third round pick for this year as well. I was able to swap safeties with the New York Giants, and I sent veteran Bobby McCain to the Giants, and we got free safety Xavier McKinney. That's excellent. He's only, I think, 22 years old, so he's going to be the starter for us at free safety now. In one of my favorite trades so far, I was able to find our new starting outside linebacker. We got Jordan Brooks from the Seattle Seahawks. I sent 2 of those third round picks that we just got and a fourth rounder, and we got Jordan Brooks and 2 seventh round picks as well. So I sent our veteran right guard Scherf to the Atlanta Falcons. In return, we're going to get a much younger Chris Lindstrom and a second round pick as well. I was able to trade my veteran left tackle Leno and a second round pick in 2022 to the Jets, and I got their 22-year-old left tackle Becton. He's an 82 overall and he's an absolute mauler. In a huge trade, I send one of our 2022 first round picks, our 2023 first round pick, and our 2022 third round pick, and we're going to get one of the best young tackles in the game, Tristan Wirfs from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Easy trade. He's a 90 overall and he is amazing. I also traded away quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick for a fourth round pick from the New York Giants. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with how those trades just went. We got Becton, we have Flowers, Rollier, Lindstrom, and Wirfs now on the O-line. That's a pretty solid O-line. Flowers is the lowest rated one now at 76, so I could always try and replace him in the future, but right now I'm pretty happy with this. And then we're going to roll with Taylor Heineke at quarterback for the season. Like I said, I do want to try and draft possibly Malik Willis with our first round pick, but for right now I'm really happy with the pieces that we have in place. I'm probably going to try and add another wide receiver either through the draft or through free agency if there's a good wide receiver, like a top tier one. So we'll see how that goes, but right now the offense looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the players that we added on defense. We do have McKinney now at free safety and Brooks at outside linebacker. Overall, this defensive squad looks pretty good. I'm hoping that Davis can get up to at least like a 75 or 76 by the end of the season, but overall this is a pretty solid looking defense right now. There's a lot of room for them to progress, but they could be a top tier defense. So like I said, I am going to be using a custom draft class in this rebuild, at least for this season. I do want to try and target either Matt Corral or Malik Willis. Willis would be my preferred quarterback. He's extremely athletic, he's got a really strong arm, and he has a lot of potential for us to really develop him in this rebuild. Let's go ahead and sim to mid-season and just see how this team is doing. I'm not expecting a whole lot, and that's going to be okay because I do want to have a high draft pick going into the NFL draft. So right now we're actually sitting at the top of the NFC East. We're 4-3, which is not what we want, but hey, right now we are winning games, so that is a good sign because this team wasn't very good before a lot of the trades that I just did. Our defense is at 87 overall defense, and then we have an 83 overall offense without having really a solid franchise quarterback. So one thing I forgot to show was just the contracts remaining. So right now all of our top players are locked down for the next couple of years, which is great. Our right guard Scherf and then McKissick were also on contract years, so this was actually their last year, so it made sense for me to trade them as well if I didn't plan on re-signing them. So right now it's looking pretty good with the players. It looks like our first player whose contract is going to be up is actually Roby Coleman, who I signed in free agency. All right, so looking at the first mock draft, it looks like we are all the way down here at number 18. It has us taking Matt Corral at 18. Kenny Pickett goes 19, and then Malik Willis goes number 20. For the second mock draft, let's see, Matt Corral actually went at number 9 to the Detroit Lions. And then Kenny Pickett went number 17 to the Broncos. Malik Willis went number 19 to the Steelers. And then we picked all the way down at 24, and we picked Sam Howell. And I think that's just because of our record right now, since we are leading the NFC East. So hopefully a team like Dallas can take over, and it'll move us higher in the mock drafts and in our draft position. Right now, Taylor Heineke is actually playing out of his mind. He has 22 TDs, only 3 interceptions, and a 69% completion percentage. That's probably due to the fact that he has an outstanding O-line with some of the guys that I brought in, so it looks like that's helping him a lot. Rushing, Antonio Gibson has 351 yards. He has a 4.2 average, and he hasn't scored a single touchdown yet, though. And then receiving, Curtis Samuel is actually leading the team in, looks like, receptions and yards. He has 455 yards, 33 receptions, and 4 TDs. But somehow Richie James Jr. has 11 touchdowns. So he has more than double what McLaurin and what Samuel have individually. So that's pretty cool. On defense, it looks like Cole Holcomb is actually leading the team in tackles, followed by Jordan Brooks, William Jackson, Cameron Curl, Deron Payne. Where's Davis at? Davis is all the way down here with 26 tackles. He has 0 for loss, but he does at least have 1 interception. Leading the team in sacks is Payne, followed by Brooks, then Young, and then Jonathan Allen. Pretty interesting so far. I actually don't want them to do well this year. That way we can have a high draft pick. So, you know, it's cool that we're 4-3. I'm hoping that we don't win the division. Let's go ahead and send it all the way to the playoffs and see how we do. All right, so we actually finished 10-7. We barely missed the playoffs. Looks like the Cowboys won the division. So here's the NFL playoff picture. It looks like the Cowboys and the Browns got a first round bye. Of course, the Browns did, and you know, it's probably going to end up being them in the Super Bowl. For some reason, those two teams always make it. But the Bucs are number 2 in the NFC, taking on the Saints. Kind of interesting. The Seahawks are number 3, Rams are only number 6, and then the Panthers are number 5 in this division. And then AFC, the biggest surprise is the Jets. They're actually number 2. They are in the wild card against the Steelers, but I'm actually shocked they made the playoffs. Even more shocked that they're the number 2 seed. Stats wise, Taylor Heineke finished outstanding. I mean, he had 4,500 yards passing, 42 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 67% completion percentage, and he was sacked only 25 times. Rushing, Antonio Gibson did great. He had over 1,000 yards rushing. He had 6 touchdowns, followed by Javian Hawkins, who only had 242. And then receiving, we had 2 receivers actually go past 1,000 yards. We almost had 3. Looks like Terry McLaurin had 1,100. Curtis Samuel had 1,000, and Richie James Jr. had 950. And it looks like Richie James had 14 touchdowns, Curtis Samuel had 7, and Terry McLaurin had 12. So that's really encouraging. If I end up bringing in another wide receiver, we could just expect that production to go up even more. Looking at defense, Jordan Brooks led the team in tackles, followed by Holcomb, Jackson, Payne, Robbie Coleman, and Cameron Curl. For tackles for losses, Payne had 22, Allen had 17, Chase Young had 16, and then sacks, looks like Chase Young led the team with 12, followed by Payne and Allen. Jordan Brooks had 5.5, so that's pretty good too, and he had 5 interceptions as well, followed by Curl with 4, Robbie Coleman with 3, Fuller with 3, Jackson with 2, and then McKinney, Davis, and Holcomb all had 1. So our kicker barely kicked. He only had 12 attempted field goals. He had a 75% field goal percentage, and it looks like for extra points he attempted 50, so that's pretty good. And then he made 49, so he only missed 1 extra point. It looks like that one got blocked. So even after all of those yards and all of that production, Taylor Heineke is still only a 73 overall, and he's a normal dev still. Terry McLaurin is a 96 overall, Becton's an 86, Lindstrom's an 85, and Wirfs is a 93, so that's pretty sick. I'm guessing our tight end Logan Thomas got injured. It looks like Ricky Seals Jr. is the starter. He's a 71 overall. I may just try and trade Thomas next season. He's a veteran, and I don't really see him progressing too much over the years. And then it looks like Curtis Samuel is an 82 overall, and then Brown is a 74, and James is actually a 78 overall now with the productive season that he had. Gibson also is an 84 with, it looks like star dev. So this is pretty encouraging on defense. Davis is a 78 overall, Brooks is an 85, and McKinney is an 82. And then it looks like Jackson is an 85, Sweat's an 84, Allen and Payne are both in the 90s, and so is Chase Young as well. And then it looks like Fuller's injured right now, so Robbie Coleman's actually in for him, but Fuller's also an 89 overall, so this defensive unit looks pretty good. Holcomb is a 79 overall. I may try and trade Holcomb, not really sure yet, but right now this defense looks pretty solid. So here are the NFL Pro Bowl rosters. We have Brady, Prescott, Russell Wilson on the NFC. We have Lamar Jackson, Zach Wilson, and Baker Mayfield for the AFC. I don't see any of our players. Oh, McLaurin made it. So McLaurin is wide receiver number 3. Richie James Jr. also made it as wide receiver number 5. I'm probably going to try and re-sign James with how good of a season he had. And then it looks like... Did any of our linemen? Wirfs did make it, so he's the starting right tackle at a 93 overall. And then Payne also made it as DT1. Allen is DT number 3, so that's pretty sick. And then let's see if any of our other players made it. And it looks like they did not. Alright, so it looks like the Green Bay Packers are going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Pretty interesting. It looks like they're both the number 4 seed this year, so let's go ahead and sim a little bit farther and see who wins the Super Bowl. And the Kansas City Chiefs won another Super Bowl. It looks like they beat the Green Bay Packers 35-17. Tom Brady won another MVP. Robert Saleh was the coach of the year. Lamar was the offensive player of the year for the Ravens. The defensive player of the year was Myles Garrett. The offensive rookie of the year was Trevor Lawrence, and the defensive rookie of the year was Owusu, the Browns outside linebacker. So here's all the players that are up for negotiation. I don't think I'm gonna really resign most of them. I will try and bring back Sly, only because he did a really good job with all the extra points this year. And then let's see, I do want to re-sign. Oh, this is interesting. Cam Sims is on here twice. I want to try and re-sign Richie James Jr., the wide receiver, and here he is. So let's get him back. Looks like he just wants like a 3-year, let's see, $6 million deal. Let's see if that works per year. And we're able to re-sign him, so that's pretty big. And then let's see, Nickel Roby Coleman. He's actually going to be 30. I'm going to let him walk. And everyone else here, I don't really think I'm going to bring back any of them. I really just wanted to do Richie James Jr. And this is going to be really good because going into free agency, we're going to have a lot of money to spend, even though we were able to add so many good players through our trades. So currently, it looks like we have about $77 million in cap space, even with a $14 million cap penalty. Next year, that goes away. So we're going to have a ton of money to spend in free agency. We are officially in the offseason. Let's go ahead and look at mock draft number 3 to see who they think we're going to land with our pick. Pretty interesting. It looks like the Atlanta Falcons are picking number 1. Everything at the top here looks pretty standard. Let's see. It looks like they still have us picking Matt Corral at number 18. So that's pretty good. Let's see, the next quarterback will be Kenny Pickett going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, probably because Tom Brady is no longer here. But then somehow the Bucs are also picking Malik Willis. So the Bucs are going to pick 2 quarterbacks apparently. Here's the full list of our draft picks. So we have the number 18 pick in the first round. We have the number 50 pick in the second. No 3rd round pick, but we do have 2 4th rounders, a 6th and a 7th. And actually we have 2 number 7s, and then the following year we have a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, 6th, and 2 number 7s as well. So on top of Tom Brady no longer being in the league, it looks like Aaron Rodgers has decided to retire after 17 years as well. So right now the offense looks pretty good. It looks like we're an 85 overall. We have some really good pieces, especially young pieces here on this offense. Taylor is definitely not going to be our starting quarterback next season unless something happens in the draft. And then our defense, after getting all of our guys back, is looking pretty solid too. Allen and Chase Young are both superstar X Factor. Jordan Brooks is a superstar, and everyone else on my defense is at least a star rating, and that's solid. So starting off free agency, I am going to try and sign Dalton Schultz. He's an 82 overall tight end. He would definitely be an upgrade over Logan Thomas, who's a 77 overall, but he's 31 years old. At corner, I am going to try and sign Carlton Davis. He's 25 years old. He's 6'1", 203 pounds, and he's got star dev as well. He's also an 85 overall, and it looks like he's only asking for about, I don't know, 11 to 12 million a year. Let's give him a little bit more than that, just to kind of ensure that he's going to sign with us, just to add to our secondary. So I have a ton of money left over. We have about $54 million in cap. And as much as I would like to get Devontae Adams, he wants a 5-year deal. He's already 29 years old. He is 98 overall right now, but I would expect him to regress here in the future. I'm going to try and sign Michael Gallup. He's an 84 overall. He's 26, and he's got star dev also. And with him, his contract looks like he wants, I guess, $57 million over 4 years. So we're going to try and give him a little bit more than that. Just try and get him to sign with us. And then on the O-line, I don't really see anyone to replace Flowers. I might end up just trading him away with some draft picks in order to get a replacement. All right, it looks like Davis, Schultz, Gallup, and also a D tackle named Costin, who's about 74 overall. They all accepted their contracts, so that's really, really nice. We were able to get some good depth here, and we still have a lot of money left over. We have about $40 million in cap still available. All right, I was able to upgrade my left guard position. We got 23-year-old Landon Dickerson. All we had to do was send Flowers, who I think is 28 years old now, and a 4th-round pick, and we were able to upgrade our guard position, and we got a lot younger there as well. Mock draft number 4 is out, so let's go ahead and see who they think we're going to take in this mock. They still have us taking Matt Corral at number 18, and then Kenny Pickett goes at number 21, and then they still have Malik Willis going to the Bucks, even though the Bucks picked a quarterback at the number 21 spot. So hopefully we'll have our pick of quarterbacks here at the number 18 spot. That would be fantastic. So here is the board right now for quarterbacks. It looks like Malik Willis actually rose up the board a little bit, so he is above Matt Corral now. Looking at Malik Willis, looks like he has A for deep accuracy, B for throw short accuracy, and B for throw under pressure. Physical traits now, they have him running a 4.51. I think he's a little bit faster than that, possibly in the 4.4s. So we'll see exactly what rating he gets if we're able to draft him. But he does have elite acceleration and elite speed based on this, and great throw power as well. And then looking at Matt Corral, it looks like for him, he has A for all of his accuracies. His physical traits, he's about a 4.6 runner, so he is slower than Malik. And then he has elite throw power, so his arm is a little bit stronger. I don't have a whole lot of draft capital, so with my 2nd round pick, I may go ahead and go with a corner. If Trent McDuffie somehow falls in the 2nd round, I might take him. Could go Kyler Gordon, so we'll just see how this draft goes. So mock draft number 5 is out, and this one's pretty interesting. So going down the draft, so we're picking number 18. They now have us taking Malik Willis, and then Matt Corral goes number 19 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then Kenny Pickett goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 21. So time to start the NFL draft. So first on the clock is the Atlanta Falcons. Let's just go pick by pick and see who each team picks. Looks like they took Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end. Let's go ahead and skip to the next pick. Giants took Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end. The Vikings selected Kyle Hamilton, strong safety. The Arizona Cardinals selected Derek Stingley. The Lions picked cornerback Ahmad Gardner. The Texans picked Charles Cross. The Eagles picked center Tyler Lindenbaum. So right now it's looking pretty good. No quarterbacks have gone off the board. If something happens, I may try and trade up. But looking at the next pick, the Eagles also got Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. The Broncos selected wide receiver Drake London. The Eagles then picked George Karlaftis from Purdue. The Chargers selected David Ajabu, defensive end from Michigan. Buffalo Bills got speedster Jamison Williams. The Raiders selected Kair Elam, the cornerback from Florida. The Giants selected Andrew Booth, cornerback from Clemson. And looking at this, I don't think any of these teams is going to pick a quarterback unless the Dolphins do. Let's go ahead and skip again. Patriots got Nakobe Dean. Dolphins selected middle linebacker Devin Lloyd. And then the Jaguars are going to go ahead and select Evan Neal, who I am really surprised that he's all the way here at number 17. I thought he was going to be a top 10 pick. But hey, we are here at number 18. We're going to have our selection, our pick for quarterback, and we're going to go ahead and pick Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. Let's go ahead and just get past the Buccaneers and the Steelers picks. I want to see who they pick if they go with quarterbacks. Looks like Matt Corral went to the Steelers. Lions got Jordan Davis, and then the Buccaneers picked Kenny Pickett. So let's go ahead and sim now to our second round pick and see who we can grab. All right, so it looks like there's a couple corners left. I think I'm going to go with Kyler Gordon, cornerback from Washington. For his physical traits, looks like he ran a 4.4 at the combine and a 4.39 at his pro day, so that's pretty solid. Skills, it looks like we can see his tackle and let's see, hit power and awareness. Let's go ahead and just draft him. And he's got hidden dev as well. So surprisingly, Breece Hall is still available here from Iowa State. We're going to go ahead and pick him. I think he's actually a solid running back. I'm surprised he's here in the 4th round. For his physical traits, he ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. Looks like his agility is pretty solid. His change of directions is okay, but he's got good strength as well. He put up 25 reps on the bench. So let's go ahead and draft Breece Hall. All right, and from here, I'm just going to send him to the end of the draft. All right, so right now I have an 88 overall team, 88 offense, 88 defense. So going into our second year, this is going to be a pretty solid team. Let's go ahead and look at the draft recap. So Malik Willis, our quarterback, is a 73 overall. He's got 90 speed, 92 acceleration. And then his throwing stats, it looks like he has 93 throw power, 82 short, 80 medium, and 82 deep accuracy. Our second round pick, Kyler Gordon's a 72 overall corner. That's pretty solid. And Breece Hall, our 4th round pick, is a 75 overall. I have no idea why it had him projected to be a day 3 pick. He was probably one of the best running backs in this draft class. So we got a steal in the 4th round there. And then looks like we took a few guys in the 6th and 7th, and they're pretty low tier, but I'm pretty happy with these 3 picks. Here's the rest of the NFL. So there were, just 2 players in the 80s with the defensive ends. We have Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. And then the guys at the top here is pretty solid, ranging from 75 all the way up to 78. We took Malik Willis. Looks like Malik's a 73, Matt Corral is a 74, and then Kenny Pickett is also a 74. So I went into free agency, and it looks like Davante Adams did not sign a contract, so we could get him on a 1-year, $14 million deal. We're going to go ahead and do that, and our wide receiver core is going to be absolutely stacked. So going into year 2, this team is looking pretty stacked on offense. Getting Davante Adams just now in free agency with no one signing him is pretty crazy. So he's going to be paired with Terry McLaurin. We're also going to have Michael Gallup and then Richie James Jr. on that side. We also have Curtis Samuel and Brown rounding out our receiver core. We have Antonio Gibson at running back and Hall as well, who just got in the draft. But our O-line looks pretty solid. We have Becton at tackle, Dickerson at guard, Collier at center, Lindstrom at right guard, and Wirfs. We have an 89 overall offense. Our defense also is looking pretty solid. We have McKinney at free safety, Brooks, Davis, and Holcomb at linebacker. We have Curl at safety as well, followed by Davis at corner. And then we have St. Justy as our reserve corner. And then we have Fuller, Jackson, and Gordon at corner as well. So overall, this is looking pretty good. And then our D-line, we have Sweat, Allen, Payne, and Young. That D-line looks really serious, and I'm really excited to see how we do this year. We're an 89 overall defense with this squad. So I'm pretty stoked for the season. It actually looks like we have a 91 overall offense. I was actually reading the teams overall at 89. Our defense is 88 overall. So overall, we're pretty stacked with talent. Let's go ahead and sim to the middle of the season and see how we're doing. All right, so right now this team is doing outstanding. Our offense is actually a 92 overall now, and we are 5-1. Let's go ahead and look at the stats and just see how we're doing so far. So currently Malik Willis has 1,700 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 73% completion percentage. That's pretty good for a rookie. Running the ball, Antonio Gibson has 400 yards rushing. Looks like Breece Hall has 127, and Antonio Gibson has 5 touchdowns. Hall has 2. All right, and receiving, it looks like Terry McLaurin is leading the team with 422 yards. Davante Adams has 363 yards. Gallup has 358, and then Schultz has 288. Looking at touchdowns, everyone mostly has 2 except for Michael Gallup, who has 5 at this time. Defensively, Jordan Brooks is leading the team with 47 tackles. followed by Cole Holcomb, William Jackson, Cameron Curl, Kendall Fuller, Chase Young, and Deron Payne. Tackle for losses, looks like Allen has 8, Young and Sweat both have 7, and then Payne has 4. Chase Young has 3 sacks, followed by Payne with 3, and then Allen has 2.5. And then looks like we have a couple players with just half a sack right now. And then interceptions, Holcomb has 2, Brooks has 1, and Jackson has 1 as well. Hopefully they can get a few more of those just spread out across the team, especially with the type of talent we have at safety and corner. So right now that looks outstanding. Our team has actually some room to grow with Malik Willis kind of coming into his own at quarterback for us. We're gonna go ahead and send this to the playoffs and see how we do, but right now at 5-1 we're looking really good. All right, so surprisingly we didn't win the NFC East. We actually finished 10-7. That was good enough to get us into the playoffs though as a wild card. So here's the playoff picture. The Dallas Cowboys are the #1 seed. We're gonna be taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now if we make it to the NFC Championship game, I will go ahead and do the key moments for that game, and then we'll try and make it to the Super Bowl. We'll see if we make it that far this year. I don't mind if we don't. I'm really happy with where we're at though currently. So looking at stats, Malik Willis did amazing this year. So he had 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a 69% completion percentage as a rookie. Rushing, Antonio Gibson had 1,200 yards and then 10 touchdowns. Breece Hall had a little bit of a role. It looks like he has 321 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. Receiving, Devontae Adams had 1,000 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. Michael Gallup had 1,000 yards receiving and 12 touchdowns. And Terry McLaurin had 900 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. Defensively, it looks like Jordan Brooks is leading our team in tackles, followed by Holcomb, Curl, Jackson, Davis, Fuller, and Payne. And then tackles for losses, Chase Young has 17, Payne has 16, Sweat has 15, and then Allen has 15 as well. Sacks, Payne is leading the team with 10, Young has 7.5, Allen has 5.5, and Montez Sweat has 4.5. Interceptions, Holcomb currently has 3, Brooks has 3, Jackson and Fuller have 1. So this lineup looks pretty good. Malik Willis is already an 82 overall, and he's got some solid pieces around him with Adams, Gallup, McLaurin, Gibson's an 87, Becton's a 90, Wirfs is a 97. This looks outstanding so far, and right now it looks like the offense is actually a 93 overall. The defense is also looking pretty solid. So McKinney's an 86, Brooks is an 87, Davis is an 80, Holcomb's an 81, Curl's an 83, Davis an 87, and then our D-line looks pretty good. Sweat's the lowest rated one with an 86, and then Fuller's a 91. All right, let's go ahead and sim the wild card and see how we do. So we actually ended up losing to the Arizona Cardinals, so that gives us some room for improvement. I mean, I'm really happy with this team. We're a 92 overall team. The offense is a 93. We'll see what we can do. Malik Willis is going to continue to improve, but right now I'm really happy with where this team is at. So we do have a couple players that are up for new contracts. Adams, McLaurin, Payne, and Lindstrom all want new deals, and it looks like Sweat does too. I'll probably let Sweat walk. We have a pretty good D-line, and I could always add either a veteran or draft a defensive end in the upcoming draft. All right, so here are the Pro Bowl rosters. Looks like Malik Willis made it for the NFC, and so did Kenny Pickett as well. And then from our team, so did Devontae Adams, and then Lindstrom. Payne did a defensive tackle. It looks like that was about it from our team. Kind of surprising. I was expecting more of our players to make it. All right, and it looks like this year's Super Bowl is going to be between the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Cowboys were the #1 seed. Chiefs were the #4 seed. All right, and the Chiefs won another Super Bowl, so they beat the Dallas Cowboys 21-17. Let's go ahead and look at our 2022 recap. I would expect Malik Willis to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's not. It looks like it actually went to Kenny Pickett for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The MVP was Patrick Mahomes. Coach of the Year was Zach Taylor. Offensive Player of the Year was Patrick Mahomes. And then Joey Bosa was the Defensive Player of the Year. And then Aiden Hutchinson won the Defensive Rookie of the Year for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so let's go ahead and get into re-signing these players. The #1 player I want to re-sign is going to be Terry McLaurin and then Chris Lindstrom. So let's start with McLaurin, and I'm going to give him a ton of money. He's a 98 overall. He's a superstar X Factor. So looks like he wants around $91 million over 4 years. I'm going to try and give him 94.6 and see if he takes that. And it looks like we're able to re-sign him. So we got our number 1 receiver coming back. And then let's go ahead and re-sign Chris Lindstrom as well. And it looks like Chris wants $38 million over 3 years. Let's go ahead and give him a little bit more than that. I like to increase the signing bonus and then the salary just a little bit for guys that I don't want walking out the door. So we're going to offer him $40 million. So we're able to re-sign Chris Lindstrom, our right guard. Let's go ahead and look at other guys that we might re-sign. I'm going to come back to Deron Payne. I might re-sign him. I'm not re-signing Devontae Adams right now. So Tim Muse, I might bring back Muse and start him at left outside linebacker because I'm not going to bring back Cole Holcomb. So let's start actually with Montez Sweat. I am going to try and bring him back. He wants 3 years, $46 million. So let's go ahead and give him around 40, let's say 47.5 and see if he'll take that. And we were able to re-sign him. So we've got our defensive end coming back. And then I'm also going to go back and re-sign Payne. And then I'll figure out something else for our outside linebacker. So let's go ahead and re-sign Payne. And he wants 3 years, $40.6 million. I'm going to give him a little bit more than that. So let's give him 42.8. Looks like we got a deal done. He's 95 overall at defensive tackle. He's 6'3", 319 pounds. It's going to be good to have that force back on our defensive line. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with these re-signings. I was able to get all of our major players back except for Adams, but that's okay. We have a pretty decent receiver core even without him. And I think I'm going to let everyone else walk. So we did get Sweat back as well. Cole Holcomb's an 80 overall, but he wants a 4-year deal. He wants $55 million, and honestly, he's our number 3 linebacker because we still have Davis and Brooks. So I'm going to let Holcomb walk as well. Heineke, unfortunately, he's going to be walking also. He's a 68 overall, and then we'll also let this left guard go. So that's all I'm going to be doing for the negotiating for re-signings. So let's go ahead and get into free agency and see what we can do there. So really quick, I forgot to do this, but Kenny Pickett actually led the league in passing yards, followed by Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Malik Willis, Jordan Love, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and surprisingly Jared Goff as well. Everyone's putting up some pretty awesome looking stats. Everyone's in like the 30s and 40s for passing touchdowns. For interceptions, looks like Matt Ryan actually led the league, followed by Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. Rushing, it looks like Nick Chubb actually led the league with 1,800 yards, followed by Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, and Alvin Kamara. Receiving, Mike Evans led the league with 1,452 yards, followed by Mike Thomas, Mari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, and Calvin Ridley. And then on defense, let's just look at sacks. Looks like Aaron Donald led the league with 21, Bosa had 20, Danielle Hunter had 16, and Micah Parsons had 15 as well. So that's at the right outside linebacker position also. I'm sure he's doing outstanding right now. He's actually a 99 overall, wow, and he's a superstar X Factor also. Looking at interceptions, it looks like Devin Bush actually led the league in INTs as a middle linebacker, followed by Teron Johnson, Fred Warner, Shaquille Griffin, Jameel Dean, Jalen Ramsey, Matt Milano, Darius Leonard, Kenny Moore, and then a couple other guys had 4. Looks like Trayvon Diggs had 4 as well, but leading the league was Devin Bush with 7. Also, the Dallas Cowboys had 13 wins, Browns had 12, Bengals had 12, Packers had 12, followed by the Bills, Titans, Vikings, the Commanders, Eagles, Chiefs, and Chargers. Let's see, the worst team was the Bears, the Texans, of course, the Dolphins, Saints, Patriots, and Ravens. So we don't have a lot of cap to work with. We have about $13 million. What I'm going to try and do is sign Drew Tranquill and move him over to left outside linebacker. So for him, it looks like we can get him on a 3-year deal. He wants like a total of $15 million. So that would be pretty good if we can sign him, because that would leave us with about $8 million left in cap going into the season. Alright, so we were able to sign Tranquil, and that's going to set us up for this upcoming season. We're a 92 overall team. I'm not going to do a whole lot more. We are going to go through the draft and just see what players we can get, but right now I'm pretty happy with our overall team. Okay, so right now our offense is looking pretty solid. So here is the lineup currently. Malik Willis is an 82 overall. He is actually now a superstar dev. He was originally just star. And then we have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and then Michael Gallup and Richie James at wide receiver. At running back, we have Antonio Gibson, Hall, and Patterson. They look pretty solid, but our O-line looks really good. So we've got Becton, he's a superstar, he's 89. Dickerson is 83, he's star. Rollier is also star, he's an 82. Lindstrom is an 88, also star. And Tristan Wirfs is a 97, he's also superstar, he's not superstar X Factor yet. And then looks like our tight ends are just normal dev, but we've got Dalton Schultz, Logan Thomas, and Bates. And then right now the offense is a 92 overall. Alright, and so here's our defensive lineup. It's looking pretty solid. So Davis is a 79 overall now, he's star dev. Jordan Brooks is an 87, he's superstar. Xavier McKinney is an 85 overall, star dev. And then Tranquil is going to be 78, he'll be at left outside linebacker for us. And then we have Curl at strong safety, also a star. Then we have Davis at, let's see, cornerback number 2, he's an 87 overall. And then it looks like Gordon's actually superstar dev now. He's a 75 overall, he's the cornerback we drafted last year out of Washington. And then Fuller's a 90, Jackson's an 83, and looks like St. Juste is only a 72. And then we have Sweat at defensive end, he's an 86. Allen's a 96 at defensive tackle. Payne is a 95. And then Chase Young is a 93. And it looks like Young and Allen are both superstar X Factors. Alright, so here's the current mock drafts. I haven't really been going through these because we don't have a first round pick in this draft. The reason being, we actually traded our first round pick for this year to get Tristan Wirfs, so I'm okay with that. He is a phenomenal tackle, so we'll see what we can do in the draft. It looks like it's pretty spread out, but there's a lot of really good corners. It looks like going in the first round, a couple of defensive ends as well, so we'll see what we can do. I'm not like super focused on the draft because whoever we pick, I don't even know if they're going to be able to play for us this season with how good our team is, but I'm still going to try and draft the best available player. Alright, so this is the 2023 NFL Draft. We're going to go ahead and skip to our pick. We don't pick until pick number 20 in round 2, so let's go ahead and skip to that one. Alright, so for my first pick, there was no more good corners left, so I'm actually going to take right tackle Morris Hurd just to add some depth to my O-line. I can't really see much of his scouting report except for his motor's always running hot. His physical traits look pretty good. He's got good acceleration, elite agility, change of direction, elite speed, and great strength, so we're going to go ahead and draft him here in the second round. And it looks like he just has normal dev, and we'll see how good he is at the end of this, but he at least has 89 strength. For my next pick, I'm actually going to go with left outside linebacker Nick Whitfield. So he's projected rounds 2 to 3. He has great acceleration, and then solid for agility, change of direction, jumping, and then good speed. For his scouting report, he has B for pursuit, so I think he'll be a good depth linebacker for us here in the third round. I'm going to go ahead and draft him. Looks like he's also normal dev, and he's got 83 speed and 88 acceleration. Alright, and for our fourth round pick, we're going to pick another linebacker, Simon Douglas. So he has C awareness, B pursuit, and then physical traits, good acceleration, solid speed, solid strength. So I think he'll be okay as like a backup linebacker for us that we can develop. This is our final season of the rebuild, so we're going to go ahead and draft him here in the fourth round. Looks like he also has normal dev, 81 speed, 87 acceleration, and 73 strength. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and submit to the end of this draft. We'll see how our picks went. I think we probably just got some like okay, decent players as like backups, which is really the goal here. I wasn't looking for any kind of starters with how deep our team is currently. Alright, and so here's the results of the draft. It looks like my right tackle is just a 65 overall, my left outside linebacker is 66, and then my right outside linebacker is a 63. The computer actually went ahead and got me a better linebacker in round 6, and he's a 67, so not a bad draft. I mean, we didn't have a first round pick, and honestly, my team is pretty stacked right now with all the players we traded for already, so all of these guys are going to be pretty much backups on my team. Alright, so here is my starting offense to start the year. So Once again, this team is pretty stacked. Right now, Willis is a 79 overall. It doesn't look like he's getting any kind of morale boost yet, but he is a superstar dev, and the rest of my team looks pretty stacked. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks like we are a 91 overall offense, and then on defense, we are a 89 overall defense. And once again, we just have players across the board that are pretty solid. So let's go ahead and sim the season, and we'll see how we do. Let's go to mid-season first and see how the first half is going, and then we'll sim all the way to the playoffs. And if we're able to get to a championship game, I'll go ahead and jump in, play the key moments with our team, and we'll see how we do with the Commanders. Alright, so right now, midway through the season, we're actually 2-4, which is not good. We're not in playoff contention. So we're still a 91 overall team. For some reason, though, we're just not winning games. Let's go ahead and look at our schedule really quick and see if we can see how things are going. So to start off, looks like we lost to the Jets, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, and the Seahawks. We did beat the Buccaneers and the Vikings so far in the season. So we'll see how we do. We still have the Patriots, Cowboys, Cardinals, Eagles, Giants, Rams, Niners. There's still a lot of football left to play to get to week 18. But right now, looks like we're also on our bye week. Right now, we only have 2 wins on the season. Looking at the stats right now, Malik Willis is playing pretty good. He has 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 63% completion percentage, and 1,500 yards passing. Rushing, Antonio Gibson has 428 yards and 5 TDs. Receiving, Curtis Samuel has 437 yards and 5 TDs. Michael Gallup has 342 yards and 2 TDs. And it looks like Terry McLaurin only has 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. I kind of wonder if he was hurt, and that might have also been contributing to our losses as well. All right, let's go ahead and send this to the end of the season. It'll be really disappointing if we don't make the playoffs. Right now we are 91 overall. This is a pretty solid team, so let's go ahead and see how we do for the rest of the season. All right, so this is pretty wild. So we finished the year 12-5. So we started off only winning 2 games, and it looks like we went on a really strong tear at the end of the season. We ended up winning a bunch of games, and we're 12-5. We're number 2 in the NFC East, and we made the playoffs. So we are in the playoffs in the wild card. We're taking on the Carolina Panthers in the wild card. If we're able to make it to the NFC Championship, once again, I'll play the key moments. We'll see if we can make it to the Super Bowl. But right now, I'm pretty happy. Let's go ahead and look at the stats and just see how this team is doing compared to the rest of the league. All right, so Malik Willis really kicked it up a notch. It looks like he threw for 4,700 yards. He had 39 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a 68% completion percentage as well. That's really good. And then rushing, Antonio Gibson had 1,000 yards rushing, 10 TDs, and Hall also had 11 touchdowns as well on 500 yards. So it's really solid with our running back field. Receiving, we had 2 receivers over 1,000 yards, Terry McLaurin and Michael Gallup, and then Dalton Schultz had 900, as well as Curtis Samuel with 853. That's really solid. Terry McLaurin also had 11 touchdowns as well. And then defensively, Jordan Brooks, again, is leading our team in tackles, followed by Davis, Curl, Fuller, Davis, and McKinney. Tackle for loss, it looks like Chase Young has 20, Payne has 19, Allen has 18, Sweat has 13. Sacks, Chase Young has 12, Allen has 8, Sweat has 7. And then interceptions, Jordan Brooks has 5, Fuller has 3, Davis has 3, and McKinney has 2, followed by Curl and Tranquil with 1. Let's go ahead and look at passing for the rest of the league, and we'll just see who's leading right now in passing and how Willis matches up with the rest of them. Let's see. So right now it looks like Patrick Mahomes led the league in passing. Willis was number 2, so Patrick Mahomes beat him out with 4,900, and then he had 40 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, so he actually threw more interceptions and had a worse completion percentage, but he threw for more yards, so it's really solid. Baker Mayfield, I guess, is on the Eagles. He threw for 4,600 yards. Kenny Pickett, again, did really well. Derek Carr. Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback of the Falcons. He did okay. 61% completion percentage, 14 interceptions. Sam Howell, I guess he actually got drafted by the Saints. He threw for 4,400 yards this year, 30 touchdowns, but 24 interceptions. He actually led the league in interceptions, followed by Russell Wilson with 21. I wonder how much. So it looks like Russell's an 86. I thought maybe he would have regressed a lot, but he's still an 86 overall at 35 years of age. I really considered possibly trading for him at the start of this, but I would have had to given up at least 3 first-round picks to get him, and I'm pretty happy with where this team ended up, not picking up Russell Wilson and trading for the rest of the players on our team. All right, so let's go ahead and sim it to the divisional championship. Hopefully we can win in the wild card round against the Carolina Panthers. Let's see how we do. All right, and unfortunately we lost in the first round against the Carolina Panthers, even though we had a much better overall team compared to them when it came to ratings. I'm really happy with this. I mean, we were a 92 overall team. We had 93 overall offense and 92 defense. I would say that this was a huge success, except for the fact that we didn't win a Super Bowl, but I turned the Washington Commanders into a playoff contender. Here are the final ratings. So it looks like Malik Willis is going to be an 86 overall. He didn't make it to 90, but he's still a superstar dev. And it looks like he has +3 morale boost as well, so that's pretty cool. Terry McLaurin's a 99, Curtis Samuel's an 85. We got Tristan Wirfs up to a 99, and then Becton is a 93 as well. And then on our defense, it looks like Jordan Brooks is an 89. Allen got up to a 99, Chase Young got up to a 96, and then Fuller and Davis both got up to 90. So overall, I mean, this team did excellent, and it's too bad that we didn't make it farther in the playoffs based on the Sims, but I'm really happy with this 12-5 season and the team we were able to build in this rebuild. So if you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. This is my first rebuild. I'm going to be doing a bunch of these. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought, anything I can do to improve, and hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching my video. Peace.